Y'all, I got a lot to say. This is Love and Hip Hop. Go ahead and subscribe and all that good stuff, y'all. I got a lot to say about this episode. So this is Love and Hip Hop season whatever episode 4, I think, one. First of all, and I'm not trying to make light of the situation at all, but I understand a motherfucking thing Shooter said. And if you did, let me know. And about halfway through, the producers realized, oh wait a minute, we don't understand what this motherfucker's saying. So then they started giving us some subtext. But at first, they wasn't telling us shit, and I didn't know what he was saying. I'm not being funny. I didn't. So the situation is serious, but that mumble shit, that's just not, it's not cute, like for a grown ass man to not be able to open up his fucking mouth and articulate some words. That's just not cute. Alright, so anyway, put that aside. The situation is sad, and when you hear that this young man lost his life over $35, like that's like we just don't fucking learn. We don't fucking learn. Like, I'm an 80s baby. 80s, 90s baby. You know what I'm saying? I grew up 80s, 90s. And I remember, I dealt with that when I was growing up. So this it's not new. The problem is that it's still going on. The problem is that we still have people that losing their lives over some stupid shit. Like $35? Are you fucking kidding me right now? I was feeling Jock this episode. Jock was the voice of reason. Jock was coming with some real stuff. Jock is really I don't even think he doing the whole love and hip hop thing right now. I think Jock is really feeling this situation. Jock, it was a joke a couple of seasons back that he had so many kids, but the serious side of having so many kids is that shit hits home. When you see when something like that hit that close to home, it is close to home. And so I think he's really serious about that and taking it seriously, and he's really feeling for Shooter. So that's how the episode opens up with Shooter dealing with, meeting up with his friends. They taking a shot. They talking about the violence. He kind of gives you the story of how his son was killed, and the last conversation he had and that kind of thing. And that that's very touching. So that's why I want to make light of it. But I'm gonna need Shooter to do better with his fucking articulation. He said he hasn't heard from Sierra since the funeral, and that he understands that they done been through what they done been through, but at the same time, he feels like she should be there more for him through this process. I agree. I agree. Um, Sometimes real life interrupts the bullshit. And I'm not saying you're not hurt. I'm not saying you're not still dealing with what you're dealing with. I'm not even saying that you should stop the divorce. The relationship is separate from what's going on. But at the end of the day, that was your stepson for 8 years. Y'all were together for 8 years. That was your stepson for 8 years. And I'm sure you're grieving and you're processing. And I'm not saying you got to fall into this man's bed. I'm not saying you got, and I mean, we only got one side of the story. So, I'm sure next week we'll hear what Sierra has to say. Maybe, maybe not. But based on the information that was provided tonight, he said he's called her, he's texted her, she hasn't responded, he hasn't seen her or talked to her since the funeral. And you saw that scene with her in Tokyo where she was trying to process it and she was feeling some kind of way about her feelings for him and all that. So maybe she decided to just separate. But I just don't, my opinion, I just don't think this is the time. And I get it that you're hurting about the infidelity and all of that, but that shit's been going on for a minute. So I just think this is a situation where real life interrupted. But at the end of the day, if she doesn't want to be a part of this process, then you can't dwell on that either. I don't think you're ready to jump into no relationship. And that's further on in the episode. We see a new character comes in to play Keely, who's been in the industry from, sounds like she's been in the industry for a long time. She worked at Def Jam and did some other things, behind the scenes kind of stuff. She looks older, but one thing is she too old to be acting the way her ass was acting, but she's dating another character that they introduced in this episode as well. He's a club promoter, and I'll get to them. Then we have Tommy and her mom. Again, I don't even know where to begin with this bullshit. Tommy still want an apology for Versace. 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 Anyway, Tommy wants an apology for Versace, from Versace. Because in Tommy's mind, Versace was wrong for making a statement to the police for the situation. I still feel the way I feel at the beginning. You went to her fucking job and fought her. You assaulted this woman at her job. And she said she wasn't the one that called the police, but she did make a police statement. Who's to say that her boss didn't tell her, we need you to make this statement or you no longer can work here? You know, you don't know the situation she was placed in because of your actions. And you're like, she owe me an apology, she owe me an apology, she owe me an apology. I feel like you owe her a fucking apology. You know, and maybe that's some street code shit that I don't know about or whatever. But from where I sit, you owe her an apology for coming, whatever the dispute that y'all had, coming up to her job with that bullshit. You could have waited till she got home and whooped her ass. You could have invited her over to your house and whooped her ass. But all of that ghetto shit, you can't be mad when people don't respond to your ghetto shit the way you want them to. And so what I mean by all of that is, you went to her, I said this already, I ain't gonna keep going through that, but you wrong. And to be demanding an apology from her, that's some bullshit. But anyway, mama says, I get all of that, I hear where you coming from, but I really want us to really start working as a family, and you know, I want to take a family portrait. Here's some ghetto shit. Her ass said, I mean, you know, everybody out of jail right now. What kind of shit? What? That's your gauge of when it's time to take a family portrait because everybody out of jail? Not everybody's in town. Not so-and-so moved back to the A and we all can get together. Nobody in jail right now. That's when you know you got some ghetto shit. I'm sorry. Drop it in the comments if you disagree. I don't care. But that's some ghetto shit. So Tommy agrees to a sit down, like they in the fucking mafia or whatever, but she agrees to a sit down because she wants her apology. Well, Tommy shows up and I'm all over the place. I'm just giving you the straight storylines. I ain't got time, you know, because I'm trying to keep this short because I got a lot to say. So I'm trying to say it all. But Tommy shows up to the photo shoot. Well, she shows up to the sit down. She thinks it's a sit down, but it ends up being a photo shoot that her mom wanted to do. Now, the concept was cute. It was like a 70s concept, so all the guys had on afros, and they had on clothes from the 70s and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was a really cute concept for the photo shoot. Here's my problem. Couple of problems. First problem, where your mama get money for this kind of photo shoot? Ain't you taking care of her ass? So she's spending your money on photo shoots? Alright, whatever. My second problem is, you got Tommy there under false pretenses. You told Tommy that you had her coming so that she could get her apology from Versace. But when she shows up in the middle of a goddamn photo shoot. And you like, come on, jump in the picture. I got you an outfit. Like, did you know your daughter? Did you really think she was going to be like, okay, ooh, that's so cute. What's my outfit? You know good and damn well she was going to be pissed off. And that was going to be a whole nother problem. Like, you knew that. Like, come on. You know your child. Like, stop it. Stop it. So, of course, that turns into an argument. She cussed her mama out. She cussed Versace out and she leaves. They make up at the end. None of that bullshit. Then, Kirk decides that he needs to take responsibility for his situation. He needs to meet with Jasmine and that they need to talk some things out. He really wanted to tell her to stay the fuck away from Prest. But he also felt like they need, because it sounds like he's been sending checks, but he hasn't been spending time. And Jasmine is like, the checks are cool, but I really want you to be a part of his life. Like, I do really genuinely want that. And he was like, okay, well, why did you show up at Prest? Like, you need to keep Rashida out of this. Like, just between me and you, she's not really ready for that. She's, like, That was disrespectful. That was embarrassing. Like, don't do that. And, Jasmine's thing was, well, I did want to apologize. Da, da, da. Stay the fuck away from Rashida. All that apology shit. You should have been apologizing last year when you was writing diss records and shit. You should have been apologizing last year when you had your boyfriend, your little bodyguard slash boyfriend, showing up places trying to fight people. You should have been wanting to apologize last year when you was running around Atlanta outside of taping the show, talking all that shit about not just Kirk, but about Rashida too. So no, don't come in here now with no apology now that you done got your damn drug test. I'm sorry, Lord, I said drug test, DNA test, and it came out the way you wanted it to come out. I mean, according to you, you knew he was the father, but I don't know your situation. I don't know your business. But leave Rashida alone. Your situation don't have nothing to do with Rashida. And if and when Rashida is ready to build a relationship with your child, that still don't have nothing to do with you. If you don't never speak to Rashida again, it don't even matter. That don't have nothing to do with you. You don't never have to say nothing to that woman. And your apologies don't really mean shit to her right now. So leave her alone. You can't force that. Leave her alone. But her and Kirk seem to have a very adult conversation. They didn't get to arguing, fussing, and cussing. He didn't come in with an attitude. She didn't come in with an attitude. The way fucking adults should act. You feel what I'm saying? Like, when she was asking tricky questions, she still said it in a way that didn't put Kirk on the defense. So by the time he got around to saying what he had to say about the press situation, he wasn't all like, yo, stay the fuck away from my wife. Like, he was like, look, that's just not cool. That's off limits. We got to set boundaries. And I feel like she received it. She explained her reasoning, even though her reasoning was some bullshit, but I feel like she received it. And they had a really decent conversation until the end when she showed Kirk pictures and he was like, oh, he is handsome. Oh, he is a cutie. Talking about some, I did that. What the fuck? What? Talking about some, I did that. Oh, now you proud, Papa? Fuck you. He meets with Rashida later on, and basically Rashida says all the same thing. She's like, look, keep her away from me. I don't have nothing to do with that. If and when I'm ready to have a relationship with your son, then I'll deal with you in that way and deal with you accordingly. I don't have nothing to say to her. Tell her to stay away from my place. Keep her in check. She was also like, I'm not ready to have no relationship with your child, but I would never stop his brothers from having a relationship. And so that is totally something that I'm open to, but I'm not ready for that right now. The rumors are that this is a whole fake situation. And if it is, that ain't my business. I ain't in their marriage, but let's assume that everything is true. I feel like Rashida is handling this in a very mature way. So then we have Carly in her situation. They show her with her new boo, Sean Garrett. I kind of like Sean Garrett a little bit. I don't know, I know his music and everything, but it's the first time I'm really kind of seeing him. He seems like a cool dude. I don't really feel like there's no chemistry between them. Like, I don't know if this is a setup, relationship for the show or what, but I didn't really feel the chemistry. But they had a really good conversation where he opened up about his family. He said he lost his mom to cancer, and him and his mom were really close. And he was like, I came from a good home. He was like, I appreciate the fact that he ain't trying to play hood, I had a hard knock life and all that. He was like, nah, my life was good. I grew up, in a good situation, and it hurt when I lost my mom to cancer. So then Carly opens up about a situation with her father. He wasn't ever really in her life or a part of her life, but now he's sick. And he's sort of, it doesn't even sound like he's really reaching out. It sounds like when he had to fill out paperwork, he put Cardi's name on everything as power of attorney or next of kin or whatever. And so the doctors keep calling her. And so she's debating about moving him to Atlanta because right now he lives in Florida, but he's alone. There's nobody down there. And so it shows her going through that process. You see her dad. She brought him to Atlanta to visit. But you see, he looks like he is kind of sick. And you meet her stepsisters. She says, I have two sisters. We got the same dad, but different moms. And we have a relationship. She said, I'm closer to the one here in Atlanta than I am to the one in New York. But you see where the one who lives in Atlanta comes over and they talk about, really don't want dad living in Florida by himself. And Carly is struggling with it. Again, she's like, why should I go out of my way and do all of this for this dude who never did anything for me, who was never there for me? So you see her struggling with it. And I think this is probably a genuine storyline. Again, I would hate to think that somebody would make up all of this just for a storyline, but But she's definitely struggling with it, and it is a hard decision. I've not with my immediate parents, but in my family, we've had to make decisions about health situations and people living with people and all kinds of stuff, and it's hard. It's never a easy situation. Um, New character, Keely. I talked about her early on. So later on, we meet Kelly and her boyfriend, the promoter, at the park doing some cleanups, some community service. Jock is there, and Shooter shows up, and we find out that Kelly and Shooter are friends. Like she was friends with him and Jasmine, but whenever a couple splits, and you were friends with both of them, at some point you're gonna have to make a decision. It's hard to walk that line. You end up being friends with one or the other. It's really hard to stay friends with both of them, especially when it's a bad breakup, and especially when we talk about infidelity and stuff like that. So, but it sounds like Keely is Team Shooter. And, her thing is, if Jasmine is not there I'm sorry, if Sierra was not there for you in your time of need during this time in your life, then fuck her. And you need to move on. You need to find somebody else, and I'm going to hook you up with one of my girls. And Jock was like, well, hold up. The last thing this dude right now is to enter a relationship. And I agree. He needs to process. He needs to grieve. Anybody that he gets involved with right now is going to be disaster, because it's just too many different ways that could go. Either he not going to be fully invested in it because he's still dealing with what he's dealing with, or he's going to become emotionally crippled towards this person because he's leaning on them. So it's not a good look. And Jock is trying to say that, like, this probably ain't the best time. First of all, he need to resolve his situation with Sierra. Like, the divorce has not happened. Papers haven't been served. That needs to be resolved. Second of all, this ain't the time for him to look at a relationship. Like, it's just not that time for that to be happening. But Kelly ain't trying to hear it. She like, whatever, he my friend. I know him, and he need to get it, he need to move on. So you already see she a little bit of a firecracker. So later on in the episode, she's at the club with Jock, with her boyfriend, and he's overdoing his job. He's a promoter, so he's entertaining, and he knows she could be special. So he told Jock he needed Jock to be there to base it. Jock was like, yeah, you ain't never heard that before, base it. And I was like, Jock's stupid. But that's pretty much what he was supposed to be doing. It ain't work, because Kelly saw it. She saw it for what it was. And she acted a fool in the club. Like, she went off like, one of these little young girls, and got loud and threw a drink and walked out. And I'm just like, why we always gotta act ignorant? First of all, if you've been in the industry all these years, you know the deal. And she even said, I know he gotta do what he gotta do. I don't care about all the thoughts. I don't care about that. But he crossing the line. He letting them put numbers in his phone, and he doing this and he doing that. Who gives a fuck? Like, you too old to care about that kind of shit. Like, y'all been together for a long time. Y'all been in long distance. That tells me that there's already something going on there that they either not addressing, or it's in her head, or whatever. Because why you acting like that? Like, you at this man, again, you at this man place of business. You at this man's job. Why are you acting like that? That's crazy to me. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna keep my eye on this Kelly chick. And she also one of the chicks that her hair changed in every scene. She was in about 4 scenes, and her hair changed in every scene. Cause one scene I didn't even recognize her. I thought she was Dawn. So the last scene is Just Brittany, the chick that got into it with Estelita and Erica. She knows Kelly also. And they go to the salon, and she's telling them what happened when the girls came into her session, and how she ain't really trying to fuck with Stevie like that. She not trying to get caught up in none of those Stevie J shenanigans. And, Kelly was like, yeah, he really makes good music. He makes bad personal decisions. And so she was like, look, I got your back. I'm not going to let Stevie, get over on you, whatever. Because she was like, yeah, Stevie invited me to a party, but I ain't really trying to go. And she was like, girl, why not? That's an industry party. You never know who you're going to meet. You need to go. And she was like, I just don't want that drama. She was like, I'll go with you, and I'll talk to Stevie about letting me be your project manager at Danger Zone. Danger Zone ain't got no budget for no project managers. Project manager. Danger Zone ain't got that budget. Ain't got that. Come on, stop it. Stop playing. And stop pretending like you think he got a budget for a damn project manager. Anyway, that's just set up next week. In the previews, you see where that's kind of setting it up for next week. So that's pretty much all I got for this episode. I had a lot to say because it was just a lot of shenanigans. I tried to edit myself down because I could have talked about this episode for a minute, but it was entertaining. It's doing its job. It was definitely entertaining. So y'all tell me what y'all think. I've been getting a lot of great comments. I thank you. Even the people that disagree with me, it's been disagreeable, but in a positive way, and I appreciate that. Again, people are still coming over that James sent. Thank you so much. Go ahead and subscribe. Become part of the family. Join the tribe, and let's do this. All right, y'all have a good one.